What happened at one of Los Angeles's most prestigious watch stores that Friday afternoon would become one of the most embarrassing moments in luxury retail history. When a 75-year-old man walked into the store, the sales associate said such degrading words to him that when the man's true identity was revealed, the shockwave would shake not just the store, but the entire city. Because this man wasn't just an ordinary customer. Exclusive timepieces, Beverly Hills was the most prestigious Rolex dealer on Rodeo Drive. Store manager Trevor Hamilton had grown up in a family mansion in Connecticut and had always been surrounded by the right people. He considered himself an expert in premium customer service, but really only knew how to serve wealthy clients from his social circle. That afternoon, he was teaching basic rules to young sales associate Kevin Brooks, who had just started. Kevin, the secret to this business is reading the customer in the first 10 seconds. You can instantly tell who can spend money and who's just window shopping. Look at the shoes, the watch they're wearing, the way they carry themselves. Kevin was 24, an Arizona State graduate, and the son of a middle-class family from Phoenix, and his mother was currently undergoing cancer treatment. Kevin really needed this job. Between his $85,000 student loan debt and his mother's monthly $3,500 treatment costs. Plus, working at this store was prestigious and paid good commission, but Trevor's elitist approach bothered him. "Mr. Hamilton, but sometimes people can be different from how they appear," he had said once. Trevor had laughed. "Kevin, I have 15 years of experience. Trust me, I can spot a time waster from across the street." At the same time, Ozzy Osbourne was in his car and realized he hadn't treated himself to something nice in a long time. Sharon constantly told him that watches made men look more distinguished and implied that he needed to dress more elegantly. "Maybe it's time to listen to the missus for once," he said with a laugh. As he moved through West Hollywood traffic, familiar sounds came from the radio. The classic rock station was doing a Black Sabbath marathon, and Sweet Leaf started playing. Ozzy still enjoyed hearing this song because it reminded him of the innocent marijuana references from that era. "Jesus' bass line is still brilliant," he thought. While waiting in traffic, a text from Sharon came to his phone. "Where are you?" "Kelly called. Wants to have dinner tonight." Ozzy read the message and smiled. Having dinner with his daughter Kelly would be nice. They hadn't had a proper family meal in a long time. Plus, he could show off his new watch. As he headed toward Beverly Hills, Ozzy pulled out his old leather wallet from his bag. This wallet was from the 1980s and still contained various memories. A small promo photo of Blizzard of Oz, an old nightclub ticket from his first date with Sharon, and of course, credit cards. Ozzy had never been flashy about money. Their houses and cars were nice, but he always dressed simply and behaved modestly. "Money doesn't change who you are inside," he would always say. The values he learned in Birmingham's working-class neighborhoods still held true. When he arrived at exclusive timepieces, it was past noon. The store was magnificent. Crystal chandeliers, handcrafted Italian marble floors, specially lead-lit display cases containing the world's most expensive watches. Trevor was on the phone with an important customer at the time, his voice carrying that familiar upper-class California accent. "Yes, Mr. Rodriguez, that limited edition Submariner you wanted has arrived. We're talking about the Steve McQueen edition, only 100 pieces worldwide." Kevin was organizing the display cases, mentally rehearsing the customer reading techniques Trevor had taught him. When Ozzy walked through the door, with his old blue jeans, black polo shirt, and worn New Balance sneakers, he didn't look particularly wealthy. His hair fell to his shoulders with a slightly slouched posture, one of Parkinson's effects, and his old leather bag. Trevor continued his phone conversation while glancing at him from the corner of his eye and categorized him as a time waster. Kevin approached, remembering Trevor's teachings. He looked at the customer's shoes, old sneakers. He looked at his watch, nothing visibly expensive. Overall appearance, definitely not the luxury customer profile. Ozzy began examining the watches in the display cases. Each one was a work of art. Submariners, Daytonas, GMT Masters. One particular Rolex Daytona caught his attention. White gold case, what they called a panda dial with white face and black subdials, 40 millimeters in diameter. The tag read $125,000. Not bad, Ozzy thought. Sharon would call this ridiculously expensive, but I call it finally treating myself properly. Kevin approached with a professional but cold voice. Good afternoon, sir. Anything specific you're looking for today? Ozzy's Birmingham accent was immediately apparent. Yeah, mate. Could I have a closer look at that Daytona there? Kevin pointed to the watch. This one? It's quite an expensive piece, sir. Maybe I could show you some other options that might be more within reach? Ozzy frowned. He didn't like that expression. Within reach? What exactly do you mean by that? Kevin remembered Trevor's teachings. Politely discourage, don't waste time. Well, sir, this particular timepiece is $125,000, plus tax, which brings it to about $137,000. It's typically purchased by collectors, successful entertainment executives, tech entrepreneurs, people with substantial portfolios. A flash sparked in Ozzy's eyes, but he didn't say anything. And what makes you think I don't have a substantial portfolio? Kevin looked the customer up and down again, now even more certain. No offense, sir, but our clientele usually, they present themselves quite differently. This watch costs more than most people's cars. Trevor had finished his phone call and came to check on Kevin's situation, as he approached Ozzy with that familiar, condescending smile. Good afternoon, sir. I'm Trevor Hamilton, the store manager. Is Kevin taking good care of you? Ozzy was calm but clear. Your young colleague here seems to think I can't afford the watch I'm interested in. Based purely on my appearance, apparently. Trevor gave Kevin a supportive look, then turned to Ozzy. Well, sir, Kevin is quite experienced despite his age. We do maintain certain standards regarding our clientele. Perhaps we could interest you in something from our pre-owned collection. Much more accessible pricing, excellent condition pieces. Ozzy's patience was really being tested. Accessible pricing? For whom exactly? Trevor, confident and condescending. Sir, I don't mean to be blunt, but that Daytona is $125,000. Plus tax, cash payment preferred. That's a serious investment that requires serious financial backing. Kevin, emboldened by this, added, We usually ask for bank references or proof of income for purchases over $50,000. It's standard procedure. Trevor nodded approvingly. Exactly. We can't just hand out $125,000 timepieces to everyone who walks in off the street. At this point, Trevor was so confident because most people would either leave angrily or retreat in embarrassment. That critical moment had arrived. Trevor and Kevin were waiting to see how Ozzy would react. Ozzy calmly pulled out his wallet without any rush. The old, worn leather wallet seemed to confirm Trevor's prejudices. Here we go, Trevor thought. Now he'll realize this is out of his league. But what Ozzy pulled from his wallet shocked both Trevor and Kevin. J.P. Morgan Private Bank's Black Titanium card. One of the world's most exclusive banks card, given only to ultra-high net worth clients, requiring a minimum net worth of $25 million. This accessible enough for you, gentlemen? Ozzy said, as he placed the card on the table, with slight irony in his voice. Trevor picked up the card and felt its weight, real titanium, with holographic security features. The card read, John M. Osbourne, private banking client since 1985. Kevin's jaw dropped. He had only seen this type of card in textbooks. Trevor's hands started trembling because he knew exactly what this card meant. Only people on the Forbes list, Hollywood's biggest stars, tech billionaires, could have this card. Trevor tried to read the name. Mr. Osbourne. John M. Osbourne. This name, it sounds very familiar. Kevin asked curiously, Sir, are you in business here in Los Angeles? Ozzy smiled, now starting to enjoy himself. You could say that. I'm in the entertainment industry. Trevor jumped in. Entertainment? Are you a producer, studio executive, agent? A playful glint appeared in Ozzy's eyes. Actually, I'm a performer. Been in the music business for about 55 years now. Kevin asked another question. Music business? Like managing bands or running a label? Ozzy shook his head. No, mate, I actually make the music. I'm a vocalist. At this moment, new customers had entered the store. A young couple in their 30s, handsome man, elegantly dressed woman, both seeming to work in the music industry. The woman immediately focused on Ozzy's voice. That Birmingham accent sounded familiar to her ears. Then, when she turned her head to look that way, her heart nearly stopped. "Oh my God," she whispered first. Then she raised her voice. Are you Ozzy Osbourne?" Everyone in the store turned their heads. Trevor's face went pale white. Kevin's jaw dropped even further. Ozzy turned with that warm, familiar smile. "Guilty as charged, love." "And you are?" the woman excitedly said. "I'm Sarah. I work for Interscope Records. Oh my God, I can't believe this. You're an absolute legend." Her husband also approached in amazement. Wow, you're the Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, Black Sabbath." Trevor's world had collapsed. The man standing in front of him was one of the biggest names in music history. Founder of Black Sabbath, creator of heavy metal, Grammy winner, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member. And he had disrespected him. Kevin was experiencing the same shock. Sarah couldn't hide her excitement. "Mr. Osbourne, I've been listening to your music since I was 12. Paranoid was the first song that made me fall in love with rock music." Ozzy smiled. "Thank you, love. Always a pleasure to meet a fellow music lover." Sarah's husband, Mike, added, "Sir, I'm a guitar player myself. Your work with Randy Rhoads, Jake Lee, Zakk Wylde, incredible. And Black Sabbath basically invented heavy metal." Ozzy responded humbly. "Well, we certainly made some noise, didn't we? Though I have to give credit to my bandmates. Tony, Geezer, Bill. I was just the one making the racket at the front." Trevor began stammering in panic. "Mr. Osbourne, I had absolutely no idea. Please accept our sincerest apologies. This is a tremendous honor having you in our store." Kevin also rushed to say, "Sir, I'm so terribly sorry for how I treated you. I had no idea who you were." Ozzy looked at both of them, with understanding and slight disappointment in his eyes. "Gentlemen, the question is, would it have mattered if you knew who I was? Should how you treat people depend on their fame or fortune?" This question made both Trevor and Kevin think. Sarah interjected, "That's so true! Respect should be universal, not based on celebrity status." Trevor tried to pull himself together. "Mr. Osbourne, about that Daytona you were interested in. Please, let me show it to you properly." Ozzy nodded. "I think that would be appropriate, don't you?" Kevin was also eager to help. "Sir, would you like me to prepare the paperwork? We can have everything ready immediately." Ozzy tried on the watch. It fit perfectly on his wrist. "Nice weight, excellent craftsmanship. Yes, I think this will do nicely." Trevor was trying to hide his trembling hands while packaging the watch and said, "Mr. Osbourne, this will be the most significant sale of my career, and the most humbling experience." Ozzy looked at him. "Trevor, sometimes the best lessons come from unexpected places. What matters is what you learn from this." Kevin added shamefully, "Sir, I promise you, this has taught me never to judge anyone by their appearance again." Ozzy smiled at the young man. "Good lad. Remember, some of the most interesting people I know dress like they're about to clean their garage." Sarah asked courageously, "Mr. Osbourne, could I ask what brings you to Beverly Hills today?" Ozzy explained, "Actually, I had a doctor's appointment. Good news, by the way. Parkinson's is stable. Thought I'd celebrate by treating myself to something nice." Mike responded excitedly, "That's wonderful news. Your strength in dealing with health challenges has been inspiring to so many people." Ozzy laughed with his characteristic humor. "Well, when you've survived everything I've survived, drugs, alcohol, accidents, Sharon's cooking, Parkinson's is just another challenge to face with humor." Trevor asked curiously, while processing the payment. "Mr. Osbourne, I have to ask, how do you stay so grounded? I mean, you're a global icon, yet you're so approachable." Ozzy responded thoughtfully. "Trevor, success doesn't change who you are inside. I'm still that scared, stuttering kid from Aston who felt like an outsider. The only difference is now I have a platform to help other outsiders feel less alone." Mike added with admiration, That's beautiful. Your music has helped millions of people feel understood. Ozzy continued with sincerity. Music is the universal language of pain and hope. When someone tells me my songs helped them through dark times, that's worth more than any Grammy or Hall of Fame induction. Sarah's phone started ringing, and she apologized. Sorry, this is my boss at Interscope. Mind if I? Ozzy waved his hand. Go ahead, love. Sarah answered the phone and spoke excitedly. Hey, Rick, you'll never believe who I just met. The phone conversation was brief. Then Sarah returned and asked, Mr. Osbourne, my boss would love to meet you sometime. Any chance you'd be interested in discussing some projects? Ozzy responded pragmatically. Always open to good music, love. Have him call my management. But remember, these days I'm more interested in quality than quantity. After the payment, everyone in the store took photos. Sarah, having found Ozzy, asked a deep question. What about dealing with criticism, or people not believing in you? Ozzy explained from his experience, Love, I was told I'd never amount to anything, that I was too weird, too loud, too different. Sometimes being an outsider is exactly what the world needs. Don't let anyone make you smaller to fit their expectations. Kevin said admiringly, That's incredibly inspiring, sir. Ozzy looked meaningfully at Kevin and added, Kevin, remember this feeling. Remember how you felt when you realized you'd misjudged someone. Use that to become better. Trevor checked the watch one last time. Mr. Osbourne, this Daytona will serve you well. It's a timepiece worthy of a legend. Ozzy was humble. Trevor, it's just a watch, mate. After what happened at exclusive timepieces that day, Trevor and Kevin treated every customer with the same respect and courtesy. Trevor hung the photo he took with Ozzy on his wall and wrote underneath, Judge not by appearance but by character. Kevin worked much more motivated to cover his mother's treatment costs and eventually became the store's most successful sales associate. Sarah told her colleagues at Interscope Records about that day's encounter, and the story became legendary in the music industry. Most importantly, this story spread by word of mouth throughout Beverly Hills. It became a benchmark for how customers should be treated in luxury stores. When Ozzy returned home, he found Sharon reading a book in her chair and told her this story. They both sat quietly that evening and examined Ozzy's new watch. Ozzy touched Sharon's hand. You know what, love? Best $137,000 I ever spent. Not for the watch, for the reminder that we can all be better.